allowing players to explore gorgeous pixel art environments, enjoy culturally fueled music, and take part in challenging and engaging combat. Arco almost nails what it sets out to do. Unfortunately, with some major game-breaking bugs, terrible frame rate, and far too frequent crashes, the game left a mixture of a sweet yet sour taste in my mouth. Hey there, I'm CGDannyB, and I really like indie games, and I like sharing them with you guys. And today, we're reviewing the upcoming game Arco, coming to Steam, Epic Games Store, and Nintendo Switch. Now, before we get into this review, I want to give a huge shout out to the teams over at Pop Agenda, as well as Panic PR and the development team for setting me up with an early copy of the game so I could give you my impressions, thoughts, and opinions today. Also, real quick, if you could do me a favor and like the video, it would really help the channel grow so I can continue to showcase awesome indie games. If you hadn't heard yet, we're trying to hit 4,000 subs by the end of 2024. And if we can hit that goal, then I'd sure be happy, and you could be a part of that success. So, help a brother out, subscribe to the channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about Arco. The tales of Arco are separated into three major characters, each one allowing you access to their personal backstories to find out where it all began. From a young boy dealing with the loss of his family and now seeking vengeance, to a woman from a tribe of farmers who's really good at fighting, so she uses that to her advantage. Arco is set in a richly detailed world marked by magic, bloodshed, and a thirst for revenge. Travel across these diverse and vividly realized environments, from lush forests and sweeping plains to scorching deserts. These landscapes are the battlegrounds for our three unlikely heroes, united together against the powerful Red Company, a faction driven by greed and conquest. As players guide these heroes, they'll navigate through various conflicts involving different nations, fending off invaders, and battling monstrous creatures. Just be careful, because all of your actions will affect the narrative in one way or another. Some actions are far less impactful, like you just can't pick up some fruit off of a tiny branch and you get poked in the finger, while other times you may slip and fall off a cliff and die instantly. Your decisions will directly influence the course of the story. The game's world's not just a backdrop, but an active participant in the unfolding drama, where every choice you make can alter the fate of your character and the land itself. Once a player is dropped into the world of Arco, you'll notice there are two states of gameplay: exploration and combat. So, let's start with exploration. Once you open your map, you'll discover a sprawling world with various paths that you'll have to use to collect items, find your objective, and unlock different story beats. Each route will lead you to awesome pixel art set pieces, from ancient tombs to humble villages with locals surrounding you. Though the pixel art can be a bit tiny while exploring the world, especially in handheld mode on the Nintendo Switch, I think the artistry really shines in moments like this. As you roam around and choose the path you want to take, you'll enter that new area, talk to locals, buy items at the shop, and even pick up side quests to earn extra XP or helpful items. Sometimes you'll have to cycle back for these side quests, but for me, more often than not, I would get lost in the sauce and totally forget about the old man that I promised to bring a treat back for. Sorry, old dude. I hope you don't starve. Another thing to note while exploring is that random events can occur. Sometimes you get ambushed by a mob of Red Company thugs, while other times you'll find innocent people you can either give items to or even bribe with money to help you on your adventure. For example, one time I was wandering around and came across this mysterious figure. The game gave me the option to either jump him before he had a chance to jump me, or just pass by him, hoping for the best. Well, I for sure wasn't about to get jumped, so I took this mysterious guy down, for the game to then tell me that he was a chill dude, and if I just let him go, nothing would have happened. Oops. At least I got some cool stuff though. But unfortunately, that cool stuff will not ease your conscience, which will actually add additional effects to combat, but we'll talk about that later. While you're marching through each biome, be sure to watch out for arrowed paths. Those are the points of no return. Once you pass that, you cannot go back without reloading a save and losing your progress. Now, I can see how combat junkies might not find enjoyment in exploring the world of Arco, but I found myself enthralled with it. However, the combat in Arco is also really fun. So the way combat works in Arco is sort of like a turn-based strategy game, but mainly a tactical RPG, where you'll plan the moves each of your characters are going to make depending on how many you have in this instance of combat. Some characters will be melee based, so you'll have to move in to do the most damage, while other characters will be range based with bows and arrows and firearms, so you can stay in the back lines, but you'll have to account for your ammo's travel distance. Now, once you've decided what every character is going to do, lock in your moves and let chaos commence. All the characters in battle will move at the exact same time, so if an enemy's retreating and you target them where they're standing, you might miss that attack. Or perhaps you're moving towards an enemy and that crosses the path of another enemy's shot. You could easily take damage from not paying attention. The key to Arco's combat is keeping an eye on everybody on the screen and making sure you take them out with the least harm to you and your squad. The basis of Arco's combat surrounds magicka, essentially your mana bar for each character determining which attacks you can use. The stronger the attack, the more magicka you're going to use. And at the end of each turn, you'll recharge 1 magicka. Or if you choose to wait and do nothing for that turn, you can recharge 3 magicka points. Just make sure you aren't in a dangerous position, because a full mana bar won't help a dead body. Another thing to note is that each action has different levels of priority. So say an enemy is about to punch you in the back of the head. If you just run forward, you might escape that damage, but if they've got some range in that move, you might not get away with just that. So what you could do is use your dodge ability, which will trigger first, meaning that they'll just swing at the empty air, giving you a chance to regroup for a stronger attack. The timing on attacks is also coupled with how long an action can take. For example, my bread and butter was the triple arrow shot. So in one turn, your character can launch 3 arrows into the air, but they won't land until the next round starts. So if I aim where an enemy's currently standing and they move on the next turn, there's a more than likely chance that they're going to dodge most of my arrows. That's when you can use your ability to scope out enemy movements and plan accordingly. See what attacks they're preparing, if they're just going to reload, or if they're about to fire off a round of machine gun bullets for the next 5 turns. Okay, so remember when I mentioned how your conscience can affect combat? So check this out. If you do too many bad tasks, they'll start to weigh on your soul, and that'll cause various effects to take place during battle that you'll need to deal with. Most of the time, it's these little ghosts. Though they're insanely cute, they're here to rough you up pretty good. Now, the way they function is that they move around while you're in your planning stage. So normally, you could take all the time in the world you need to plan. But when a ghost is flying straight towards you, you're gonna have to make it quick so you can get out of the way from that incoming damage. The more bad karma you have, the more potential there are for multiple ghosts and other effects to really put an extra level of challenge into your encounters. But sometimes you can clear your conscience with a nice, warm, freshly baked cookie. Really makes you forget all about the senseless murder spree that you went on. Now, you're probably gonna lose a bunch, but that's okay. It's gonna happen. You could just reload the battle and try again, knowing what to expect and how to best avoid some of those devastating attacks. But when you finally come out on top, you'll earn XP for each one of your characters, which you can then use to level them up and get new abilities. Unlock new moves, more health, additional ability slots, and much more. This made the combat feel much more tailored to the way that I wanted to battle, allowing me to choose which attacks worked best for how I played Arco. And that's something that I really enjoyed. However, even though I really did enjoy this game, I had some major issues throughout my playthrough. Unfortunately, Arco is littered with a bunch of annoying problems. They probably add an additional few hours to my overall playtime, but not for the better. To start from the smallest issues and work our way up, I had some major performance issues anytime too much was going on in battle. It would start with a few frame hiccups, nothing crazy, just some stuttering, but once a character would rattle off a bunch of bullets or a bunch of toxic spores would envelop the screen, my experience would slow down to a devastating crawl. Now, I know that the Switch is by no means a powerhouse, and we should be expecting a Switch 2 announcement any day now, but this was rough. Turns that would normally take a few seconds took extra minutes to complete. With having to select my ability, aim it, initiate the attack, and then rinse and repeat, this was a huge damper on battles. Plus, the music would suffer too. So no badass combat music during my fights, just one repeated note from the exact moment combat would start to lag. Now, I'm flexible. I was easily able to just turn down the game and watch some anime to fill the silence, but it does suck that I didn't get to enjoy the full experience with the proper audio. As I mentioned before, combat can get pretty tough, especially at some of the major boss encounters. So imagine the triumph that I felt after 20 plus attempts to finally come out on top, defeat this headache of a boss, stand tall over his defeated corpse as his last words murmur from his lips, and then... This game did not crash on me. I swear to God, if I didn't save that boss fight, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind if that just happened. Yeah, far too many times did Arco crash on me during important story beats. And since the game saves after the cutscene, I had to go back and redo major encounters multiple times and pray that the game wouldn't crash on me a second or third time defeating this boss. This even happened to me on the final boss encounter. Though I didn't find that one insanely challenging personally, it was a big climactic scene being erupted by a blue screen of text that I've never seen on my Nintendo Switch in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, Arco is far from the first game to ever have performance issues for me on my Nintendo Switch, but I wouldn't let those games get away with it either. So I gotta be real before I convince anyone to pick this game up for themselves. Now, these problems in terms of the big picture are fairly minuscule. They didn't totally ruin my experience, they didn't make it so I couldn't finish the game, but they definitely made it harder for me to tell someone that this is a day one buy. Arco was a surprise for me this year. A game that I heard about that I figured, yeah, maybe I'll play it someday, but had no immediate intentions to. But once I was offered a key, I figured, yeah, what the hell, let's give it a go. And I truly loved this game throughout the first 2 chapters. The game offers a unique take on the genre, mixing 2 types of gameplay that give this extra pizzazz and definitely deserves some attention. Unfortunately, the performance issues and crashes severely dampened my experience to a point where I can't shout the praises of this game immediately. My compliments on Arco have to be followed up by a negative warning to make sure that you know what you're getting into. Now, at this time, I have not touched the PC version, nor do I know anybody who has. So perhaps that version's in a better position and you can hop right in and have the level of fun that's intended. But for my Nintendo gamers out there, I suggest waiting for that first major patch before you pick up Arco. But at least add it to your wish list so you know when it goes on sale. But there you have it, that is my review of Arco. Once again, I want to thank the team for setting me up with a code for the game so I could review it for my audience, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the improvements to this game once they're available. If you guys enjoyed this review, first, be sure to like the video because I put a lot of work into it, and a thumbs up goes a long way in my heart. And second, if you want to stick around for some more awesome indie game reviews and recommendations, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming indie goodness. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.